Well, I guess since everyone's talking about this, I guess I gotta talk about it too. Because, that's what content creators do, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you guys have seen countless videos, countless posts about this already regarding the new guidelines or the updated guidelines for streaming and posting FGO content on YouTube. And when you read through the guidelines, essentially it's all stuff that we should all already know and be aware of, because a lot of it is basically, hey, don't spoil stuff, essentially. Like if you look at the stuff where it says section where you can distribute and post videos, by the way, this is from the official JP website. I just Google translated so it's easier for me to interpret and easier for you guys to read, but go ahead and check it out yourself. But if you look at the stuff you can distribute, it's basically older content up until Lostbelt 4 for some reason, like it's only up until 4. Which has been out for like 5 years almost, and then certain events, and of course summoning is on the table still, doing daily quests and challenges and whatnot. Those are all still on the table because they don't spoil anything, or at least they shouldn't spoil anything. Where things get hairy apparently is this section right here where videos cannot be distributed. It's basically stuff from Lostbelt 5 onwards, which is a bit excessive, I get it, but in the end of the day, I am a player first, a fan first, before a content creator. In the end of the day, I'm not even that big of a content creator in the grand scheme of things, obviously, which is why I'm still kind of uncomfortable calling myself that, or calling myself an influencer. I would never call myself an influencer unironically, but still, I know some other people who are a lot bigger than me probably consider themselves as such, and maybe fans and viewers also consider them as such, and maybe me too, I don't know. But the bottom line is I am a player and a fan first and foremost. So when I see these guidelines and they are supposed to be combating or preventing or trying to control people from spoiling stuff, my first instinct as a player, my first instinct as a fan of the game is, okay, why not? I don't like spoilers either. And I know that's probably a hot take, because I bet most people out there, most content creators and most fans of content creators are probably like, well, this is such a mundane, archaic thing to try to do, because we're in the age where you can't really control all the media out there. You can't control who posts or what's posted out there in a lot of ways. Obviously, there's some things that if you post, you're probably going to get cracked down right off the jump. But when it comes to stuff like streaming a game, like you can't really control that en masse, which is one of the reasons I'm not really that worried. But at the same time, apparently from what I read online, the reason why they are pushing these guidelines and being, I assume, a little bit more strict with them is because a lot of JP players, a lot of people in Japan, their core market for the JP game, obviously, not really the NA game. The NA game hasn't really addressed this. Aniplex USA hasn't really talked about this. Granted, they have always tried to steer away from spoilers at the same time. But apparently a lot of JP players reported complaints, reported different videos, different streams, different streamers, different content creators for essentially spoiling a lot of stuff, especially regarding the latest ordeal calls and the latest chapters and the latest stories, latest characters, stuff like that. And that's where I kind of, again, see myself as a fan and player first and foremost, because as somebody who does not like spoilers, I can kind of sympathize with a lot of JP players. Again, that's their core audience. I might be a JP player as well, but I'm not Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. I don't live in Japan. In the end of the day, I am an English player. So when actual Japanese players who read the story and are invested in the story as it comes out go online and they see all these spoilers already posted within a millisecond, then I kind of get it. I kind of understand where all these complaints are coming from. And I'm about to expose myself real quick, so I don't know if this is going to burn any bridges. I don't know if people are going to lose respect for me or whatever, but I actually do not watch really much fake Grand Order content on YouTube or on Twitch or anything. Unless somebody sends me something, or unless it just pops up and it's something I'm genuinely interested in. Really, the most FGO content I consume from online, aside from like the official stuff from like Aniplex and Aniplex JP and whatnot, are usually like my room voice lines or like animations. If I want to see like if a character gets new animations, or if a new character in general comes out and I want to check them out, then yeah, I'll watch like a couple animation videos. I'll watch their NP. I'll watch their my room lines if I'm interested in what they have to say, especially like the translated ones. Those are the main ones I watch. I don't really watch anything else. And a big part of that is because, again, fan first and foremost, player first and foremost. I don't want to see any spoilers. If you watch one video of Grand Order, you're gonna get recommended a crap ton of other videos about Grand Order. So I try my best to steer away from them just because I don't want to get recommended any spoilers. And again, I get the perspective of like, oh, you try to avoid spoilers, but you're a content creator. How does that make sense? You're gonna get spoiled eventually. Like, okay, yeah, certain things, you know, slip through the cracks, and certain things I learn about either from chat or just going on Twitter or Reddit or whatever, and I get spoiled of some stuff. That just comes with the territory. But if I can control certain factors that will help, you know, mitigate the risk of getting spoiled, then I will take those necessary actions, you know? So again, besides like animations, maybe a couple of gacha videos here and there, reaction videos, I really don't mess with a lot of Grand Order content, because again, not because I have anything against like the person or the people posting them, but because I just don't want to get, you know, recommended any spoiler videos, which unfortunately there are a lot of videos out there. I'm not gonna name any names, obviously, and maybe I'm guilty of a couple of them as well, where people would dead ass just put spoilers straight up on the title, straight up on the thumbnail, in big bold red letters or whatever. And it's one of those things where like, okay guys, you guys need to calm down, because some people are not caught up with the story. Some people are much more invested in the story than probably you are, and are taking things a lot slower. Maybe they just started the game, and most FGO fans would agree, most FGO players would agree, the big part of the game, the one part of the game that people will get invested in, is the story and the characters. Like, it's not really the gameplay. The gameplay is very redundant. A lot of people would like to say it's outdated, archaic. So people are not going to play this game for the gameplay. That's just a fact of the matter. But people will stick with the game for years and years on end, myself included, because we're invested in the story, we're invested in the characters. So when you ruin that for other potential fans or already established fans, then that kind of sucks. And I think Aniplex, Lozengo, Sony, I think they understand that. I think they get that. So I understand it's a hot take, because I'm someone who predominantly streams this stuff. I just stream the gameplay, I stream the gachas, I stream like the news, but at the same time, I get it. I understand. And really, if you look back at my streams, and I'm sure other people do this too, but if you look back at my streams and my videos, I try my best not to spoil anything. I try my best to be as accommodating as possible for the people who are watching and the people who are potentially going to see my channel pop up. I'm not going to put in big bold letters, oh, this character died, rest in peace. I'm not going to put in my thumbnail, oh my god, this character is actually this character. It's like, I'm not going to do that, because at least I don't think I have. Maybe I have, but like, there are others who are, you know, a lot more guilty of that than I am, and a lot more cognizant of the things that they are doing, because, you know, it gets clicks in the end of the day. When there is a big death or a big story twist or something, that's gonna get a lot of views, that's gonna get a lot of clicks. So I get that. Again, I can see things from both perspectives. From a content creator perspective, if I want to get views, if I'm trying to get money, if I'm trying to get subscribers, then yeah, I get putting those things out there. But at the same time, you know, you don't want to get in trouble or spoil stuff, ruin the experience for anyone else. That's just me. Again, if you look back at my streams and videos, every time somebody brings up some kind of a spoiler, I try to shut it down, or I at least try to shift the conversation, because when I get spoiled, again, it comes with the territory. I am streaming the game. People are inevitably going to spoil stuff for me, whether they intend to or not. So when I get spoiled, listen, I don't like getting spoiled, but it is what it is. I could at least try to stop other people from getting spoiled, either in the chat itself or in the comments, or if people are just rewatching the stream back, or maybe one of my videos or streams got recommended and then they click on it. You know, I try my best not to spoil too much stuff if I could control it. And if we just talk about generally speaking, when I do react to big FGO news or whatnot, if you've seen my streams before, I don't include the audio, because I know audio is a big copyright issue. I try to distort the imagery. So like if I'm reacting to a stream and then they show like an opening animation or a commemorative animation for an anniversary or something, I minimize it. I distort the colors. I make it transparent. I make it darker, just so I don't get in trouble with copyright and stuff like that. And I understand other streamers and other content creators get away with that stuff. They get away with it all the time. Me, as somebody who, and I don't know if you guys know this, as somebody who started off as an anime reaction channel, that used to be my type of content, where I would react to anime, watch the anime in full, and then review it. I know that studios don't mess with that stuff. They don't mess with, you know, just taking content and just reacting to it as is. You gotta manipulate the audio, you gotta manipulate the image, you gotta manipulate the actual content that you're reacting to in order to avoid getting a copyright strike or a copyright claim, or getting your stream taken down, or getting in trouble in general. And that's only happened, I believe, once with FGO gameplay. I think one of my streams got taken down. It was a Guda Guda event because of one of the songs that was used in there. And I believe another time I was streaming, I think FGO news, I want to say it was NA news, not JP news, this time around. But still, my stream got taken down mid-reaction because I guess Aniplex striked it down. They were like, nope, like, you can't be streaming this because you included the audio, because you included the image, because of this, that, or the other. So I'm a lot more careful now, just because of, you know, personal experience and how I started off as an anime reaction channel. I get how these studios work. I understand how they work. And that's just talking about the copyrighted content. That's not even talking about the initial spoiler stuff that is a big part of this, really. So that's kind of my take with all these guidelines, and I understand like the concern. I think a lot of people see this as like, hey, if I post like a boss battle video, I'm not even trying to spoil anything, I'm not even commentating, it's just a boss battle video, is that video gonna get taken down? At that point, it's kind of up to the discretion of whoever is looking at that video, because it's one of those things where like they can't just auto detect video, like all the videos and all the streams online, and then strike them all at once. Like, it's one of those things they're gonna have to individually check out these videos and individually check out these streams, because again, there's way too much out there. They can't just press one button and all of it is gone. That's just unrealistic. That's just not gonna happen. So for me, it comes down to just staying careful, avoiding copyright music. Like, if you're posting one of those boss fight videos and you're using copyrighted music in the background, then that's probably on you. I mean, I'll be honest, like, you probably shouldn't be doing that, because that's already walking on ice. That's already walking on eggshells right there. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But if you're gonna continue posting those type of videos, then just take the necessary precautions. You know, choose non-copyright music to put in the background. And if you're gonna be posting like streams, or like myself when I'm streaming chapters, you know, I try my best to commentate over as much as I can. I try my best to turn it into a stream where like the main focus is me commentating, and then I'm just, you know, playing a game on the side, if that makes sense. Like, the main focus is in the game itself. So it should be okay, like fair use. Like, if you know what fair use is, if you're familiar with copyright, then as long as you're commentating and you're putting your own spin to the game, or whatever content you're reacting to, or whatever game you're playing, if you put your own spin to it to the point that it cannot be claimed as a copyrighted thing, then you should be good. Because that's what I try to do. Just commentate over the stuff. Just distort the images when I'm reacting to certain things, and if there's like an opening animation or commemorative animation, anniversary, whatever, then I just cut out the audio, because music is a big thing, and I try my best to distort the video itself, just so I don't get in trouble. It's just one of those things that I think a lot of people were getting away with it, but most recently, especially with Ordeal Call 3 and how crazy that is with the summer event and whatnot, I think the spoilers probably got out of hand for a lot of JP players, and that cannot be stressed enough. This is mainly for JP players. This is something that JP players wanted. A lot of people are posting online that, oh my god, Sony is so out of date, Aniplex, Losango, what are you doing? But in the end of the day, the players themselves, the Japanese players themselves, are the ones that are asking and advocating and supporting for this to happen. They are the ones that are the core audience, the core fan base of the JP game, obviously. So if they have something to say, Sony, Aniplex, Losango, they gotta listen. And then people like myself, we're in the minority. In the end of the day, we are in the minority. People outside of Japan playing the JP game, we are in the minority in a lot of ways. and our voice is not as, I guess, valuable, which sounds kind of messed up, but I'm self-aware enough to understand that, okay, like, listen, I played a JP game, but, you know, I'm not the core audience. I'm more of an NA player. Like, despite playing JP since year one, I'm more of an NA player in the grand scheme of things. Again, I understand I have a very hot take and probably an opinion that many other people probably don't share, but I get it. I totally understand, and if this is what the JP players want, I could just do nothing but support their decision. I don't think it's as severe as people think. I think people are thinking like once they post a video, they're just screwed. Plus, it's not retroactive, so if you had been posting a lot of these type of videos that don't exactly fall under the guidelines, your channel's not going to get strike down, your videos aren't going to get deleted, your streams aren't going to get privated or anything. Like, it's not something that happens retroactively. Like, if you could see here, it says videos that were distributed or posted before these guidelines were established do not apply to these guidelines. So going forward, I would hope that people take the necessary precautions to sort of play around these guidelines and adhere to them as much as possible. I'd like to think I've been playing it pretty safe. I don't really put any cutscenes out there. I don't really mess with any copyrighted stuff for the most part. I don't put in the thumbnails like crazy big spoilers, and definitely I don't put them in the titles. And one thing that they don't mention, actually, now that I'm looking through it, is they don't really talk about data mined content and leaks, which is a big thing. In fact, I believe a couple of days ago, if I'm not mistaken, if I go to the news page, as you could see back in 9/20, about a week ago, they did punish 16 accounts, 16 players, presumably, probably just 16 accounts. Maybe it's 16 accounts by the same person, who knows, but they did suspend and freeze 16 accounts as a result of them apparently data mining or manipulating the data in some way or fashion. So that's just one of the things that, like, you should probably already know about. Like, don't like mess with the game itself if you care about your account, or if you care about playing the game. Like, don't mess with certain stuff. And obviously they don't gotta worry about me, because it's not like I'm the one hacking or data mining or anything. But at the same time, I know that there are a couple of content creators out there. Again, I don't want to name any names, you guys know who they are. You know, respect to them. I just gotta, you know, point out and be objective with everything. There are people out there, streamers, content creators, people who cover the news, whatnot, who do entertain these data mines and do entertain these leaks and do put it out there. Even if they're not the ones who data mine themselves, even if they're not the ones who leak themselves, they do still cover them, they still talk about them and whatnot. All I could really say to that is, me personally, I don't mess with them. I don't think there's a single video or single stream where I talk about the data mining leaks. Like, when they're brought up to me by chat, I will address them there and then, but I would never like think about posting a video like, apparently this was data mined, apparently this was leaked. Like, for me, that type of content is just asking for trouble. That's just straight up asking for trouble from like the company, because you're distributing content that you shouldn't know or shouldn't be distributing. And at the same time, from a player or viewer perspective, you are essentially spoiling stuff for your viewers. So I try my best not to do that, just because I don't like spoilers. I'd rather react to things as they happen organically. But again, when they're brought up, I do talk about them. I just don't talk about them in great detail. I don't actively look for them myself, because I do stream, because I am a content creator. It does come with the territory. But that's enough rambling from me. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. Again, do you agree? Do you disagree with the stuff that they posted? I do think it is a little bit excessive that you can't post anything post Lostbelt 4. That's a bit much, but I kind of get it. At the same time, there are people who are just starting playing the game now. As unbelievable as that sounds, there are people who are still newbies, who are still in the beginning of the story, and they haven't reached the Lostbelts yet. So I could see them, you know, being a bit more strict with that, just to accommodate those players. And then of course there's the whole videos that cannot be distributed or posted. I think for the most part this is fair. I think the Lostbelt 5, again, going along with like the Lostbelt 4 limit, I think Lostbelt 5. That's, you know, it's a little bit older, but that is where things start to heat up in the story, so kind of get it. Otherwise, everything else makes sense, like the sound player, like, okay, music, you know, that's copyright opening animation, you know, you don't want to mess with studios. For the most part, I get all this. Again, comment down below, let me know what you think. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and of course subscribe to me, the main character, to become a supporting character, because, you know, without you guys I'd be the only character, and I'd just be a lonely little lad in these streets. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.